Josh was 4 months short of his 21st birthday when he left this world.
Son Dylan Cole, he's forever 17 years, 11 months.
Mitch passed away due to depression 2 months before he turned 17 years old.
Evan is the eldest of my 4 kids. He passed away when he was 11. I remember I used to say that he's the only baby I know that when he wakes up in the morning, he doesn't greet the world with a cry, he smiles first.
Yes, Mitch, when he was 11 years old, we brought him to Hokkaido. This is the first time he experienced snow, and he really loved it, making snowballs, throwing at his daddy.
I always enjoyed flying up to Melbourne to see him, and for him to show me around where he skateboard, introduce me to his friends.
I chose the name Isaac for him because Isaac means laughter. As you can see how happy he was, and he is my Mr. Bean. I also chose him another name, which was Josh, from the book of Joshua, where God told Joshua to always be strong and courageous. And that was one thing I wanted him to be.
Since young, Mitch is a very happy boy, despite his learning difficulties. He was actually diagnosed with dyslexia since K1. As parents, we are always concerned of his own self-esteem. We consciously ensure that we don't give him additional pressure. As long as he did his best, we are proud of him. Towards end of Sec 3, he started to experience anxiety. He couldn't sleep during exam period. We thought that his behavioral change is due to his transition to adolescence, but little did we know that he's actually going through anxiety and depression. We actually brought him to see some counselors, but he didn't share as much.
We migrated to Australia, but after a year we decided to come back to Singapore. And I think that change was something that he would try very hard to cope with. At that time, he also tried very hard to hide his depression. He shared with his sister negative thoughts that he told his sister specifically not to tell me because he knew that I was also going through a very tough time.
We first caught signs of him struggling with self-harm. He was having relationship problems. We thought that it's all part and parcel of growing up, that he would actually outgrow it, but never realized that it was the trigger of his anxiety. And I brought him to see a psychiatrist. Said, okay, why don't we give him Medicanet, which is a study drug. And so we thought that was going to be the end of our problem. Never realized that it's actually so much deeper than that.
After his O-level, we brought him to watch a show from a motivational speaker, Jessica Cox. Mitch was actually motivated for a while, and he wanted to be a motivational speaker to motivate others. We thought that moving on to poly life, he will be happier. But the worst nightmare happened.
At his funeral service, there was someone that was crying. He said, The reason why he cried was because he's got a job now today. It's because of Josh. Because Josh was the one that worked the hardest and everybody got a pretty good score. That is Josh for you. He was always thinking of other people.
After he passed away, I saw a messenger that his friend sent him on Facebook. And the friend actually said that, I should have known when you cried when you got results. So even though we don't focus on the grades as a family, I think he felt the peer pressure. He felt that he didn't do good enough. He didn't do well enough compared to his friends. And these are things that as a family we cannot take away. We cannot shield him against. When people make fun of him, when he is bullied in school, if he was, we would not have known and he would not have voiced it out.
I actually found out after his passing that he was being taunted because he had all these cut marks on his arms and legs. Kids don't know how to deal with this.
So I think the society as a whole, even education to adults, how to teach your kids to have more empathy towards other children. I think that's a very, very important thing to cultivate in them as well.
So on hindsight, I know that when you take prescription antidepressant, the first few months is very, very risky. You have high risk of suicide ideation. It increases your serotonin during the day. It makes you very happy. But at night, it just dips. And that's when the dark thoughts come. And they are usually not in a very safe place. They will feel very helpless and totally, extremely depressed. You have to be monitored very closely and be very vigilant. With Zen's passing and the PTSD that I'm struggling with, I have anxiety attacks now. But I'm still fortunate because I know what causes that. But imagine for these kids, if they don't know what causes the anxiety, you know how scary that can be? And they might be smiling, they might be goofing around, they might look like they're in a very happy situation, but in the back of their mind, they have so much anxiety in them. They put on a mask, no one can tell. So this is the real face of depression.
A suicidal person may not ask for help, but that doesn't mean that help isn't wanted. I think especially teens, many a times, they are probably not even aware that they are actually suffering from anxiety and depression.
To the parents out there, please don't try to rationalize how your child feels. There's so many families that are in denial. I think it's all in your mind. You'll grow out of it, or you're just seeking attention. Just acknowledge your child's pain. I think what they really want is acknowledgement, not for you to brush it off and not for you to try to rationalize.
Young people, if you're experiencing anxiety and going through emotional stress, do talk to your parents or some adults whom you trust. Seeking for help is not a sign of weakness. You do not have to suffer in silence. Sometimes your parents may not understand the pain that you are carrying. And as parents, many a times, we are vulnerable as well. We face many problems in our lives. And sometimes we may not find a perfect solution to it. But believe me, as parents, we love you unconditionally. We will journey with you and do all we can to bring you out of the darkness. So for your loved ones, do give them a chance to help you.
Depression actually camouflages a lot of things, a lot of good things. It emphasizes all the bad stuff. But if you look out for it and look out at all the beautiful things that is still available to you out there, there are tons of it if that is what you focus on looking at. If Evan was around and I could speak to him now, I would like to tell him that it's okay, take your time to grow up. I know growing up is tough. It's very, very tough. There's so many emotional things you have to go through. But take your time. You don't have to rush into it. And you can stay a child for as long as you need to until you're ready.
I just want to say that I have been through depression myself, and I understand the darkness that you feel, the voices you may hear, but I want to tell you that it is not the end. Your situation now is not something that will go on forever and ever. You are wonderfully made, and you have a purpose in life.
Anxiety and depression is an illness just like cancer and needs proper treatment. So for those who love you, please stay. Hope is never lost.